Ja, bin ich zu hören? Ja. Ja, herzlich willkommen zum nächsten Slot. Herzlich willkommen Jürgen Dolase und herzlich willkommen Leia. Schön, dass du mit mir auf der Bühne bist, meine Enkelin. Jürgen, fester Bestandteil der CHEF-SACHE seit 5 Jahren und ja, stolz, dich immer hier zu haben. Deine Beiträge sind brillant, brauche ich nicht extra zu sagen, und auch gut, dich als Autor zu haben. Und in Port Culinaire, und das halte ich mal hoch, das ist ein Buch, was wir ja, im letzten Jahr gemacht haben, gemeinsam. Du hast gekocht mit der Unterstützung einer Bäuerin aus der Nachbarschaft. Ich habe fotografiert und es ist ein wunderschönes Werk geworden. Man kann das vorne bei uns am Port Culinaire Stand kaufen und Jürgen ist natürlich gerne bereit, das auch zu signieren.
Notfalls auch unter Verwendung des Begriffs Textur.
Okay, aber ich übergebe jetzt an dich.
Meine Damen und Herren, freut mich, Sie wiederzusehen. Unser erster Koch in diesem sehr bunten Programm, sehr modernen Programm in diesem Jahr, kommt aus Belgien, hat ein wunderschönes Restaurant, ich habe mal geschrieben, was Sie vermutlich nicht finden werden, wenn Sie nicht wirklich mal Landkarte lesen wieder. Ein Bauernhof, umgebaut, völlig unprätentiös, ein Spitzenrestaurant, was auf vieles verzichtet, was Luxusrestaurants haben und damit vielleicht noch mehr schafft als der größte Luxus. Es hat eine Bio-Anmutung dort auf dem platten Land im Flämischen und es erwartet die Gäste ein anderes gastronomisches Erlebnis. Er ist ein klein wenig verglichen worden immer gerne mit René Redzepi. Ich würde das so nicht unterstützen. Ich würde sagen, er hat einen ganz eigenen Weg gefunden, sehr bio, sehr natürlich, sehr menschlich, eine ganz ungewöhnliche Küche. Er hat eine eigene geschmackliche Sprache, die mit normalen klassischen Klischees nun wirklich überhaupt nichts mehr zu tun hat. Apropos Klassik. Wenn Sie unterscheiden einmal bei der Klassik zwischen dem, was Klassik Mode war, also bestimmte Soßen zubereiten, bestimmte Aromenbilder, Foie Gras, Trüffel und solche Geschichten, bestimmte Soßen vor allem auch, und das trennen von dem, was Kochkunst tatsächlich ist und was die Grundlagen der Kochkunst sind, also Produktqualitäten, Garungen, die schonend sind, die wirklich die Produkte durchkommen lassen. Oder auch die Verwendung von allen Sachen und nicht das Aussortieren bei einem Tier zwischen einem so winzigen Stückchen Filet und den Rest schmeißt man weg oder überlässt ihn den anderen. Wenn Sie also auf diese klassischen Grundlagen der wirklich großen Kochkunst kommen, werden Sie in dieser Küche eine Menge finden, weil sie direkt auf die Produkte zugeht, weil sie feinste Garungen und Aromatisierungen hat. Und weil sie, auch das ist heute, glaube ich, eine wichtige Geschichte, enorm leicht ist. Es ist eine Küche für sensible Esser, von einem sensiblen Koch gemacht. Eine Küche, von der Sie nichts erwarten sollten als den Blick in Ihr eigenes Inneres sozusagen. Überlassen Sie sich dem, was Sie schmecken, und lassen Sie die Klischees zu Hause, dann ist es grandios. Bitte den Trailer. Meine Damen und Herren, ich versuche es auf Flämisch, den Namen auszusprechen. Bitte begrüßen Sie ganz herzlich Kobe Desramaults.
Thank you. Hello. This is my wonderful assistant for the day, Kyle. All right, so I think everything's been told already, so it's just up to me to start doing some cooking now, I guess. So we're gonna make 3 dishes today. So what we do in the Wolf kitchen is really, well, focused on the most humble produce we can find, and to highlight those produce in the best way we can. I think that's, that just says about all of our kitchen at In the Wolf. So we're first gonna make a potato dish. So, and we're just gonna use potato, nothing else. It's the main ingredient, the star is the potato. So we have here one beautiful little potato. It's called Uit de Perdrix. It has little eyes, little pink eyes in it. This is a farmer just next to the restaurant that grows these potatoes for us. You're gonna have some Peruvian chef tomorrow, so these are not a match for his potato. You don't. This is fun, eh? Can have little kids over at the restaurant and do this for you. It's like Play-Doh. And we just make sure that there's that the dough is nice, evenly coated all around the potato. Yeah. So very simple: ashes, salt, flour, a little bit of oil, a little bit of water, and then you have a dough like this. It's very, very simple. So what we're going to do now is we put the potato in the oven for about 25 minutes at 200 degrees. Yeah. So this dish that we're going to do is based on a very traditional dish from my region. It's called caramel stampers. Caramel means buttermilk, so the leftover milk when you make butter. And the stampers mean puree. So this is basically something that people made at home. Every grandmother makes it still. And they made it with the waste produce. So when they made butter, they used the buttermilk to cook the potatoes in. So this is, we already made this. It's very simple, it's very like, what we do, we add some cheese to it. It's a CHEF-SACHE, also local cheese. And usually this is a very rustic dish. It's been served with like slices of cheese on top and poached eggs and shrimps and whatever you want. Every grandmother has her own recipe. But we're just gonna use the potatoes. So what we did is we had this, and we want to make a bit of a light version of it, because we have a tasting menu in the restaurant. We don't want to serve you a whole plate of potatoes, of course. So this is just we incorporated some air into the puree. So we have one potato that's been cooking for a bit. So this one's been cooking for now the last 25 minutes. So we just want to like cut it just around the edge so it opens up. This is also how we're going to present it to the guests in the restaurant. So why we do the potato like this is to get a very concentrated flavor, because these potatoes are so beautiful, so delicate in flavor. We want to capture everything and just incorporate it with that salt. You're not going to have a salt flavor though, that's all right. Okay, so this is the caramel stampers. This is an oil. It's a green oil, and we make it from the waste of leek. So basically, in the restaurant, we try to use everything. So I think that's what we're trying to do. So if you use leeks, we're gonna save the greens. We mix them with oil, and then we freeze it, and then we let it sift, and then we have a pure leek oil. These are some of the very last flowers of the season. We have some radish flowers and some arugula flowers to give a little bit of pepperness to the dish. And to make it look pretty, of course. Flowers are always pretty. And we finish off with some little bit of salt and horseradish. So we actually never use pepper in the kitchen. We always use replacements who give support like a dish rather than like mask the flavor sometimes. So we want to lift something up, like with horseradish and potatoes, you can lift something up without like masking the flavors. So this is basically it. What we do, we come to the table, we serve to the guest, and then we open this one up. And this is your potato. So what we ask the guest to do is to cut the potato and to dip it into the puree, just like that. So you get this very, very strong, pleasant structures of potato. And that's basically it, guys. Maybe it's not very impressive, but that's it. Thank you. Okay, next one. We're going to use one ingredient and one ingredient only. So we have some celeriac. So what we do now, celeriac is nice, it's beautiful, it's in season. We basically slice it very thin, yeah. So we put this on a Japanese mandolin, slice it very thin, and the thin strips of celeriac, we blanch them for a few seconds, and then we put everything into in an oven. So this is basically just celeriac that's been blanched, and it goes into an oven of 70 degrees for a whole day. So what we want to do, and we do this with a lot of vegetables, is we want to extract all the water and concentrate the flavor completely. So that's what we did here. So we have this, and then here we have, this is the pure water that is inside the celeriac. So we have celeriacs, we put them in a juicer, and then we have this. This is just the water of celeriac. So what we do is, you put it through a juicer, you bring it up to 80 degrees Celsius, and then it's going to split. You pass it through a cloth, a cheesecloth, and this is the pure water. So then, everybody knows celeriac is a bit sweet, yeah? So we start reducing this. When we take this amount of celeriac water, was just about like this, all the way down. Yes, we want to concentrate all that flavor, so we get the actual water out and just flavor. And then we start cooking. So we have just some little bit of butter. Get some heat in here, Carl. Is this? That's full on? Okay. So what we do is we have our original celeriac here. So we dried it out, so we're gonna moisten it now again. And we're gonna let it incorporate all that reduced celeriac juice. A little bit of butter with there. So what we want to imitate is a bit the structure of pasta. We have an Italian in the kitchen who doesn't like it when we say we imitate that our pasta is better than his. So the structure, because all the water is gone, you're going to have like a nice like a bite to it, which is very strange. Also here we have the same celeriac water, reduced, heavily reduced, and just added some butter to it. So the only seasoning that we're going to use in here is this is some lovage, and this is just some fresh lovage, which is basically also like a wild celery type. And this is lovage salt. So when we have an abundance of lovage in the gardens, we just mix it with salt. We're just like straight out of the garden, mixed with salt and dry out for a few days. So this is going to go in there. And then we have the lovage goes in there. Okay, this is just served as a sauce. Well, this is about as pure as we can get. This is celeriac. Right. Thank you. All right, next one up. So we we have this beautiful pork farm just across the border of, so the restaurant is just situated on the border with France. So if I just like take 100 meters of the restaurant, we're in France. And we have this beautiful pork farm over the border, Ferme de Beaupays, the farm of the beautiful country. And they have a biological, they grow biological pork. So all the pork are running around in the fields there. It's beautiful. A lot of mud, a lot of dirt. And we only work with these people and their pork. So we also get a whole pork in, for instance, and then we want to use as much as possible of it. So we're going to get creative with the head of the pork mainly now. So we have a few different things we're going to do. We have, first of all, here we have, this is the brain. We're going to cook the brains. I don't know if it's still traditional in Germany, if people still eat brains. I know they don't do it in Belgium. So when we serve this dish to the guests, we never tell them actually what it is. It's not written on the menu. And we just like surprise them. After they had like 10 glasses of wine, they tend to be a bit more open-minded about it. So we also have the snout. We have this is actually the skin side from the head, which we grilled. We confit, and very slowly it's been like crisping up. This is the jowl itself, and this has been aging for about 3 months now. So it's salt cured and aged for about 3 months. It's a bit like a lardo. So this we're going to bake now. We use a lot of butter because butter is very good for you. This is also like the butter we also make in the restaurant. We have a neighbor farm who provides us with every week with cream, and we let the cream age. So we let it sit in a basement where we have all these types of charcuterie hanging, and we let it sit just like that for the cream sits for a week, because that's how they used to do it. So farmers used to, when they had every day, they took some milk from their cows, and every day they took some cream from the milk, and they let it sit in their basement. So by the end of the week, they would churn their butter once a week. And because of that, that's sitting around there, you get all these beautiful bacteria, the lactobacilli, that make your cream sour. So you create a sour cream. And from that sour cream on, then you make butter. And that's what we do now. I honestly, 2 years ago, I have never eaten pork brain in my life, honestly. And I was with a friend, and a friend like, you know, the friend I go for lunch with once in a while, and his mother was going to cook for us. And his mother insisted on making pork brain for me. And first I was a bit like, I don't know about that, you know. But then we started eating, and she just like baked it like this in a lot of butter, put it on toast, just some salt and some lemon on top. And we had duvel, you know, duvel, the beer from Belgium, a lot of it. And it was one of the greatest meals I ever had. So this is the poor woman died last year, or 2 years ago, sorry. So this is a bit in memory of her. The woman that taught me how to eat pork brain. So we're going to keep it very simple. So this is the pork brain. We don't want to cook it too much. We're going to have some nice, finely chopped shallots in there. Just some parsley. Some chives. And some slowberry vinegar. So sloe berries are also plants. The sloe that grows around the fields. Farmers used to use it to protect, to make sure that cows wouldn't get out of the how do you say, the fields, yeah? The paddocks, and so because they have very big forms. But this is not been used a lot anymore, the sloe berries, so you can only use it after frost, and we make like a vinegar from it. So this is now the crunchy skin. Goes in there, get some nice crunchy texture to it. A little bit of salt. And what we do then is we have these little very traditional little tart shells. And we make a dough from flaxseed. Flax was one of the main industries like 100 years ago in my region, because there was a lot of clothes, linen not, but the yeah, clothes and stuff, textiles. So this is the seeds of this plant that we use, and we make these little crispy shells, like a tart shell with it. Right? This is just we stuff them with the brain. So, and then we also make from the bones of the pork, we make a nice glaze. Which is right here. Is that going all right? Okay, we're just going to wait for the glaze to be ready, and then in the meantime we have some, so this is the confit snout, which we're just going to season with some of that sloe berry vinegar. A little bit of salt. Then we have here, we have a boudin, you know, blutwurst, yeah? But what we did, we make this every year, this time of year, definitely. And what we did last year is, or 2 years ago, one of the guys messed up the program of the boudin. He got it out and it was undercooked. So, but I saw this as a beautiful challenge. This was something beautiful. You had like, sometimes when you overcook or when you cook boudin or blutwurst, you will have this like grainy structure. And with this wasn't the case. So you had the blood was just cooked, but not really cooked, if you know what I mean. So this is just like liquid in the center, and we're going to make a puree out of it. So you see, Doesn't look very tasty, I know, guys. It is tasty, though. You eat a lot of Blutwurst in Germany? Yeah, you do there, yeah? Okay. We're just going to mix it. So what we have here is the cured back fat of the pork. We have a little spice mix that we make with like dried garlic, some dried juniper berries. What else do we have in there, Kyle? Dried onions, some chicory, and some fennel seeds. Mm? We're gonna cut some more of this crispy skin for the actual dish. So this is basically like a gelée we made from the pork. Come on, Mille, you're letting me down. Can we sieve this off? So we're also going to add some red wine vinegar to the boudin mix, just to lighten it up a bit. We strain it off. Okay. So this is going to be the snout. the blood. It's almost Halloween, so we can do this. This is the jaw. And then we finish off with some of that, the head there. So if we serve it to the guest, we have this dish. And then we have this dish, which is the actual head, of course, and we put this on top. This is your pork head dish.
Wonderful.
That's
One,
it.
two, three. Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here.
Some little questions. As a restaurant like yours, with the impact on bio, on vegetables more than we have seen it today, what's your thought about the vegetable movement?
So what we try to do in the restaurant is we put everything at the same, like on the same rack. So there's no difference for us to make a dish made with like meat or vegetables. Vegetables even get more like some more priority. It all depends very much on season too. So in summer we'll go like almost on a vegetarian menu, and in winter time we'll use some more protein. But this is just the main focus is almost always just try to. The main focus is to do something very simple, like the potato or the celeriac, and just like bring everything out from a vegetable. So to have a different perspective on a vegetable and treat it almost like it's a meat or a fish, something very rich that needs attention, that deserves attention.
So you can work with every product. There's no simple product.
No, it's no simple. No, it's all a matter of perspective. And I think if you're just open-minded and you try to see the different options and the different things you can do, there's still a whole world of discoveries around the simple potato or a simple celeriac or a leek or whatever. There's
So
so
you
much.
think that the classical kitchen has perhaps 10% of the potato, and there are 90% to go?
Yeah, definitely. Well, there's quite a lot of potato dishes already in the world, but I think there's still room for a lot more. It's not because there's Escoffier made 56 different potato dishes that we should say, okay, this is what we can do with a potato, it's finished. No, you should always try to do something more, to do something new, if that excites you. And you know, that potato really excites me. This is, in the restaurant, this is the favorite dish from the whole menu. It's the cheapest dish I ever made in my life. It's just a potato. I mean, I should drive a Ferrari now.
There's an important question, I think, for younger cooks. Like, how do you get your inspiration? So there's a lot of potential in all vegetables, in all the simple things you can eat. You can even find new things. But how to get the inspiration? There are no real lots of books who work on this subject.
And I think, and I always firmly believe that to find inspiration, you will not find it in books. You need to inform yourself, and there's a technical aspect that you can find in books. But to be really inspired, you have to just think and cook like a kid, just like a kid. You know,
So
just play around with food, and that's.
That's what I want to ask. You play around, you take the things and start experimenting with
Experiment, yeah. I don't like to
taste
call
it
it experimenting, I just like to call it playing around. You know, that's the best part of our job. We can just play around with food and nobody's there to say, don't play with your food.
How-
You can't play with your food. Beautiful.
How radical are you with your experimentations? You're doing a lot with grilling and things like that.
We do a lot. What we're really focusing on since the last 2 years is fermenting. So I haven't really brought anything with me today, but we've been like have a whole program where we make like miso paste. So we, for instance, we use Aspergillus bacteria, and we go like make completely from local sources. We make a miso paste, which is very exciting. We make a miso not from rice, but from barley or from buckwheat. So we have a whole selection of that. We do a lot of vegetable fermenting, like it was used to be done back in the days, but we try to be progressive with all techniques, and that's what we love to do. Just to, like I say, play around with all techniques, but take it to the future.
You know, we have some cooks in Germany too, but in all countries of the world, I think, have the problem that, like, if you go to the local products and you compare the perhaps very, very little choice of local products, you compare it with the products you can buy with the grocery shop. How can we go on? Can we do this aspect of local products and experimenting with the most simple things? Can we put it in the kitchen in all parts of the world?
I definitely believe that now there's really a movement going on. Like, people are being like woken up because all the food scandals everywhere, and the supermarkets all just try to rip you fucking off, and everybody just wants to make money off food. And while food is something so delicate, and it's the most important thing we need as a race to survive. We need to be much more careful what we put into our mouths. I had one of those curry wars yesterday night. It was beautiful, but maybe I shouldn't have done that. But anyway, I think it's very important, like, to have a renewed respect, and I think that's something there's a movement now. There's people are being more. Everything gets more transparent, and there's a search. We want to know where our food comes from. I want to know where my food comes from. I think that's something that we should all like.
Do we have to get more sensitive?
I think we should. There's a lot of different people who should take responsibility and should give you information of where your food came from. If that fish there, that tilapia fish, is being grown in some dirty river and full of antibiotics and pesticides and herbicides or whatever, you should know this. I mean, it's my duty to tell you what I did with my food. It might be a porkhead, but I explain you whatever I did. So should they? They should do that.
A little anthropological question, rather. Like, would it be possible, after you were working about 10 years or a little more than 10 years on things like this, would it be possible in another 10 years for people who are eating your stuff to tell varieties of potatoes instead of only if they are made with butter or olive oil? To tell varieties, to say, oh, this is this potato and this is that. Are we getting in this direction?
I think a lot of people are getting in that direction, and I think I can definitely feel it. And if we try to motivate that and impulse it, then I think people are being a lot more aware of different types of, even with grains, with breads. We have a bakery in Belgium where we use only locally sourced grains, and they're all being milled in a windmill. So this is something really crazy, and it's very hard. You can't make money with that, but it's nice because you can start talking to people about grains. And it's just grain. We just take bread as something so ridiculously simple, but it's so complex, the world of grains, and people start to think about it. Like, they think of coffee beans, and they think of everything. Yeah.
So you would agree that there are no limitations in a kitchen like this?
No limitations whatsoever.
And you're taking no rest? You wanted...
no, not yet.
Some months ago you told me you would take a year off to get inspirations all over the world. The inspirations are in your backyard.
I'd love to, but it's not going to be for next year. So
Thank you very much.
Thank
Ladies
you,
and gentlemen, Kobe Desramaults.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.